Studio.
What is up, y'all? It is your girl Lala, aka LaChelle, aka Chelle, aka Michelle, my belle. And y'all, this is gonna be a real quick spiritual video. If that's not your thing, I respect it. Just walk on by, okay? Walk on by. Dum 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 dum. I don't need to know in the comments. Please do not get in my comments and go, what is this? Just don't watch it, okay? With that being said, y'all, I just came out of prayer, and if you can't tell, your girl is excited, okay? So I was in prayer having a real serious conversation with God about the parts of my faith that I struggle with. And I told God, look, God, I knew how to navigate with the dark side of faith when I didn't have any. When I was in that woe is me, self-pitying, don't nobody care about me, God don't like me, all of that other stuff. And I say self-pity and it sounds harsh now, because I promise you, when I was in the darkness and I would hear people say, stop feeling sorry for yourself, it would piss me off. But it's real. Because now that I am healing, that's what it was. It was self-pity. It was self-loathing, right? I'm in this by myself. Nothing's going to ever go right. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. We know all of that is a lie. It's the work of the enemy. The enemy knows that he can't beat you on his own, so he tricks you into beating yourself. It's like getting into a street fight and the person you're fighting don't have hands, so they trick you into hitting yourself. You knock yourself out. Okay, that's the spiritual and worldly equivalent of it. So when I was in the darkness, like nobody loves me, God just sent me here to punish me because so many people have done me wrong, no matter how good I do them, so on and so forth. I knew how to navigate in pity. I knew how to navigate in sadness. I knew how to navigate in frustration. I knew how to navigate in anger, right? And I've even started working on how I'm going to respond as everything works out for my good, because we know that it's going to, right? Things may seem hard now. They might even seem dark, because I'm not above anybody who is still in that dark place, because I was there. Okay? I'm not above that. I don't think I'm better than you. None of that. I'm trying to help you get out. But the hardest part of faith to me wasn't the darkness. The hardest part of faith to me is that middle part, because as I said, I know how to navigate in the darkness. Unfortunately, I got a lot of experience in that. And I know how well I'm going to navigate once all of my blessings manifest, and everything that has ever troubled me or ailed me in my life, I will look back and laugh at it, right? Because it was just a part of my testimony. It was temporary, right? Weeping endureth for the night, but joy coming in the morning. Now listen, y'all, I am not religious. I want to be clear. I am spiritual. This is not, it's not a Christian, it's not a Catholicism. It's just a spiritual video. So I was in prayer and meditation, and I'm telling God, God, I know how to navigate in the darkness. I know how I'm going to navigate when I'm completely in the light. We know that the storm is never over, that the enemy is going to constantly attack you because he just lame and that's what he do, right? But how do I navigate through that middle part? That middle part where I no longer live feeling sorry for myself, but I also don't know where my blessings are. I don't know when they're coming. I know they're coming. Like I can see them coming. The enemy is hitting me harder and harder because I know that blessings are on the way and I will be overflowing, right? How do I navigate though in that in-between part when I gotta have faith, but it doesn't look like any of the situations that were troubling me have gone yet? When I have faith, but the enemy is constantly sending me counterfeits who look like the people that God would align me with, but they're not. How do I keep having faith? God, I grow weary. God, I get frustrated. God, I feel confused. God, I get discouraged. God, I get tired. God, I get tired of being tired. And y'all, I would start to beat myself up and tell myself that I'm not being a good woman of God. I'm not standing 10 toes in my spirituality. I'm not having faith. I'm not being affirming to myself. Everybody thinks it's affirmations now, right? I'm not being affirming to myself because I feel that way. Do y'all know how many times in the Bible God says, I already know that you're going to feel that way. That's a part of faith. God identifies certain points in your faith as long suffering. And he tells you have to endure. Do you endure anything that's fun and good? No, you don't. You endure trials and tribulations and hard times. And so God basically had to come to me and say, Your faith in this moment, in the waiting period, because while you're waiting, let's be honest, while you may be waiting on God to bless you, your trials and tribulations ain't waiting. Them bills ain't waiting. Them kids aren't waiting. Your needs aren't waiting. If you got debt, that debt ain't waiting. Okay? Emergencies aren't waiting. You're the only one waiting. And that's what it feels like. So how do you keep the faith? Well, one of the biggest things I have to do and had to do, right? Because it's a constant work in progress. That's why I never trust people who say, I'm healed. How? Healing is a never ending process. You finish already? No, I'm good. When people tell me that they are healed, not that they are healing, not that they are better, but they tell me they're healed like they done, I look at them like I look at a lot of them new houses that's popping up. The ones that they build in like 3 months, but then as soon as a natural disaster come through or some real strong rain, the house tow up. Yeah, that's how I look at people when they tell me I'm healed already. They done prayed for 1 year and healed every problem they done never had in their life. Baby, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Because real people know that growth is a never-ending process. When you stop growing, you are done living. So when someone tells me that you are healed, you want me to believe you have overcome everything that you've endured in life, as well as the new stuff. All right? Because like I told y'all, it never ends. As well as the new stuff, you want me to believe you've overcome the old stuff and the new stuff, and you just fine. Baby. Child, I believe that, like, never mind. I agree, say something I ain't got no business in. So anyway, y'all, I said that to say this. One of the biggest things that God told me I have to do is learn how to forgive myself. Now, I can forgive myself when I cuss somebody out, go upside somebody's head. I know how to, pray, seek redemption, and forgive myself and not do it again. But one thing I struggle with forgiving myself is when I feel like my faith is wavering, when the truth is it's not wavering. God says in the book many times, he knows that we are going to grow weary. He knows we are going to feel defeated. He knows that we have to endure. He knows that we suffer. Nobody said faith is Disney World. Okay? And so if God is already saying, I know that that's going to happen and I forgive you, why aren't we forgiving ourselves? And that is one of the reasons I'm not religious, because a lot of these religious cultures try to teach you that if you don't take everything on the chin and with a smile, you ain't a person of God. You don't believe. How you going to tell me that when God says in his book that he knows I'm going to feel that way? God knows that we're going to be tempted. God knows that we were going to get angry. God knows that we're going to want vengeance. God knows that. So if God is saying he knows that, how man going to come tell me that because I feel it, I'm not a person of God, when God said, I know my people will grow weary. I know my people will complain. I know my people will feel overwhelmed. So if God is telling me he knows we're going to do it, how are you going to tell me that I'm wrong for doing exactly what God says he knows I'm going to do? Because what God also says in his book is, I know you're going to do it. I know you're going to feel it, but bring it to me. When you feel overwhelmed, bring it to me in prayer. When you feel frustrated, bring it to me in prayer. When you grow weary, bring it to me in prayer. When you have a complaint, bring it to me in prayer. And I'm going to give y'all the specific, I'm going to give you 2 verses out of the chapter that God literally led me to in prayer. Yes, I really be in prayer, and God will send chapters and verses to me to read in prayer. And I'm going to tell you how good God is, because after I finish talking to God about, God, I know why I'm growing weary. And I explain the same things I explained to y'all, because while we wait for our blessings, life don't stop happening. And it's hard not to get frustrated when you're still dealing with the same problems you was dealing with before God said he was going to bless you, and he ain't blessed you yet. So how am I supposed to still try to be happy every single day? No, you're going to have your days. You're going to have your days where you're not 100%. And God says, I know that. And it's okay. And the verse I was led to in the Bible as I prayed today, and y'all got to know, I pray every single day, and I don't normally bring it to y'all every day, but I had to bring this because I don't know who this message is for. God says in Psalm 142, it says, I cried unto the Lord with my voice unto the Lord did I make my supplication. I poured out my complaint before him. I shewed before him my trouble. That's what God led me to. So after I finished venting to God, as I often do in prayer, that's why I say I don't even be trying to gossip with nobody no more. I don't beef with nobody. I just go to God about you. Like the same way people sit around and have group chats talking trash about people, I have a group chat with God. I go straight to God like, God, this person is playing with me. Because for those of y'all who know me, I am a retired crash out. SL and RL. It's never been a game. I done been through a lot. So in my adulthood, I said I endured a lot as a kid. So as an adult, you gonna play with your mama before you play with me. And I was hard on them. I lied to you not. I had men who was like, bro, I was scared of you. And I ain't even have to do nothing crazy like a lot of people do. I stood on business so hard, I cracked my ankles. I never played with anybody. That's why when people be toying with me sometimes, I'm like, you have no idea how you're being spared, because the old me would have chewed you up, spit you out, and not thought twice about how I did it. And I'll tell y'all my story one day, because there was a certain situation that turned me around, that made me say, I'm not going to be that person anymore. I refuse to hurt anybody to that degree. And it was deep. And when I tell y'all the story, y'all might be like, all right, Chelle, you know what I mean? So I go to God about my situations, and I was talking to God about, this is just something I'm struggling with. And I always find it funny because I never go into prayer feeling like I'm finna go tell God all this. I go into prayer thinking I'm just going to read scripture, meditate and stuff like that. But God always had me pouring out my heart to him. And I think that's beautiful, because a lot of people can't be trusted in this world. What they say, a listening ear become a running mouth. And a lot of y'all, as soon as you get mad, you clock everybody's teeth to anybody who will listen. So I know God ain't gonna never do me that way. But I went in there this morning and I was talking to God, and I just was like, God, today I ain't got it. I literally started praying. And that's another thing. Y'all stop thinking prayer gotta be hard. It don't. It does not. When I first started learning how to pray, y'all, I lied to y'all not. I went in there like, God, it's me again. I swear to you. I started praying like, God, it's me again. I don't know what you want me to do, but this how I feel right now. And I'm mad. Like, that's how I pray. Y'all be thinking you got to go talking to God sounding like Pastor Mike or TD Jakes and singing hymnals like Shirley Caesar. Baby, that's not what God expects you to do. God wants you to come pray how you know how to pray. And he'll teach you as you continue and be consistent in your prayer. So yes, I literally used to go in there when I first started praying like, God, it's me again. And some days I still do that. So this morning I went into prayer. I said, God, I ain't got it today. I literally told God that. Sometimes I be in there and I be going, honey. Okay. I'm like, ooh. Right? But today I just went in there and I said, God, I ain't got it. It's certain things and situations and people I am so frustrated with, and I'm trying my hardest not to handle it the wrong way. And God, I've done what I can, and so on and so forth. I can't tell y'all everything because, some of y'all like to use stuff against people. But that's how I go into prayer, y'all. So I said that to say this again, because I get excited about God. I get a little long-winded. God didn't say that you're not going to grow weary. God didn't say that you won't get tired. What Kelly Price in that song say? I'm even tired of going to church. That's all she got when she be talking about tired. God knows that we get tired. God knows that we get overwhelmed. God knows that some days that faith of a mustard seed seemed like the tiniest mustard seed that he ever created. Sometimes my mustard seed is so little I can't even see it. Okay? All God tells you to do is when you feel that way, bring it to me. When you're tempted, bring it to me. When you feel things feel chaotic, bring it to me. When you want to give up, bring it to me. God never said that you were wrong for feeling it. He just said when you feel it, try not to act on it unless you bringing it to me. And with that, y'all, I'm going to end this because I didn't even mean to make this video that long. But whenever God tells me to speak, I'm going to speak. Bring it to God. Your problems, your joy, your pain. It literally says in the Bible, pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. And this is applicable. Some people don't call God God. Sometimes they call God the Most High. It calls him that in the Bible too. Sometimes they call God the universe, the great I am. However you identify, take it to the Most High. Take it to the Almighty One. Take it to the universe. Don't guilt trip yourself for feeling natural emotions. God literally identifies faith as long suffering. So stop letting these religious people browbeat you and tell you that if you're feeling sad, it's because you ain't got faith. If you're frustrated, it's because you don't believe in God. That's a lie. God says, I know that you're going to temporarily experience these things. Why would God tell us weeping endureth for the night, but joy come in the morning, if he telling you it's never okay to feel anything other than happiness? Now, I'm not saying wallow in your self-pity. I ain't even saying act on your feelings. I'm saying forgive yourself for feeling those emotions and then take them to God in prayer. And I promise y'all, there have been so many days where I felt broken, where I felt angry, where I wanted to be vindictive, and I took it to God instead. And I promise you, I woke up the next morning feeling new. The only way anybody could have looked at me that next day and knew how I felt before I went into prayer, they would have had to be in the prayer with me, because that's how God will turn it around. And sometimes him turning it around is not him fixing the situation. Stop looking for worldly confirmation all the time. Sometimes you really got to believe. And I have went into prayer broken, and the very next morning I woke up feeling fine. Again, my physical situation may have not changed, but God renewed my spirit. And God tells us I will do that over and over again as many times as you ask me. I just need you to keep asking me. Don't fall for the traps of the enemy. Don't fall for his lies. When you feel discouraged, when you think God doesn't love you, when you think that you're all alone, when you don't feel like you have support, take it to the Most High. He is literally a refuge for us. And for those who like, why she keep saying refuge? He is safety. He is our safe space. He is our listener. He is our mediator. He, they, them. God is all things. Y'all don't be in my comments arguing about gender. I don't care about none of that. Okay? So when in doubt, take it to God. When you happy, take it to God. When you mad, take it to God. I literally go into prayer sometimes and be like, God, I don't like this. I'm upset that this isn't working out the way I want it to. And I think I needed to put out this message because there's so many people who run away from faith and spirituality because y'all done allow some of them faux Christians, okay, them faux Catholics, them people who don't really, they not really serving God. They might be serving the reverend. They might be serving a man, a figure, but they not serving God's word. When they try to tell you that if you anything other than happy, you ain't being faithful, that's a lie. God knows that faith ain't all happiness. He says it in his book. He wouldn't give us so many ways out if in his word he decided that no, every day got to be sunshine or you not faithful for real. That don't even make sense. So stop beating yourself up. Forgive yourself, because God forgave you long ago. Y'all keep y'all head up and stay prayed up. I love y'all, family, and I mean that. I don't know who this message is for. And if you need to reach out to me in private, do it. I be praying for people, literally. Y'all keep y'all head. You're not alone in this world. You're not. You may physically feel that way, but sometimes God be keeping people from you because he protecting you. Y'all don't know what people be saying and doing behind y'all back. You don't know how people be planning to steal from you, to harm you. You be wondering, oh, how come my family don't love me as much as da-da-da-da-da? And God had to move your family away from you because they was trying to set you up for failure. They were jealous of you. They hated your mama, so they hate you. Sometimes you alone because God is keeping you safe. I love y'all, family. If y'all need anything, hit me up. Peace.